All right, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of the Doc Talks podcast. So, one of our hosts here, I'm going to let her introduce herself here, and we'll move from there. Okay. Got to be more serious than that.
I know, we got to be more serious than this. So, my name is Cambrie. I'm one of the co-hosts of the podcast, and I'm with Shane, who's the other co-host of the podcast. Do you want to tell them about how we met?
Yeah, I'll tell the story on how we met. So
you're like the best storyteller, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should start out with kind of what we're doing here and why. So I think Cambrie and I both consume a lot of information, aviation-related information on social media and YouTube and everything else that's out there. And we've always came up a little short on the entertainment factor. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of guys putting out a lot of content. I mean, I can't believe how many people do accident reports. It's unbelievable out there. So that's kind of what that is. But you know, we're both rated pilots, commercial multi-engine C pilot for Cambrie. I'm ATP rated in a single-engine land, multi-engine land, and single-engine C, soon to be multi-engine C.
He's the best pilot I've ever flown with, and he's going to kill me after the podcast ends because I just called him the best pilot. But he has every rating except one.
Except one. I'm going to get it. I'll get it before the summer's over.
APMES.
So we both fly seaplanes typically day in and day out right now. Single engine, multi-engine. We fly Beavers. We fly Beech 18s on floats. We fly a King Air 200. Corporate. So we fly a lot of different types of things, a lot of different airplanes day in and day out. But how we met, you want me to tell the story here, Cambrie? You could tell your side of it. So I own a seaplane company, and I got a call during the winter. Winter, we do not operate that seaplane company, but I got a call. Typically, I do not answer that phone number during the winter just because we are closed. But it just so happens that cell phone was charged up and it was sitting on my desk next to me. And I got a call. Well, this young lady here was on the other line. And she proceeded to tell me all about herself. She told me that she was a commercial single-engine seaplane pilot at the time, a CFI, close to 1,000 hours. I guess you were 800 hours at the time. And her dream was to fly seaplanes. She said she'd called everybody out there. I was if I remember right, it seems like 220 person she had called. She'd got a lot of no's. I think she was just she'd gotten so accustomed to getting no's that she wasn't going to take another no. I think it had came to that in your head. I don't know what was going through your head.
Well, I was just like in a what's the saying, between a rock and a hard place?
Yeah.
I was not behind a rock, but in a rock, under a rock, crushed between another rock. And no one wanted to hire the 19-year-old girl because I was a 19-year-old girl at the time. I called every seaplane operation in this country, and everybody told me no, except Brooks Seaplane Service. So then, before I called them, I started calling seaplane DPEs on the FAA website. I was like, hi, I'd give them my sob story about how I wanted to be a seaplane pilot and how nobody wanted to hire me. And then I called RDPE, who I didn't even know was RDPE, and he was like, you should call Brooks Seaplane Service. So what did I do? I called Brooks Seaplane Service. I called them, and this guy picked up. Actually, no, it was a girl first. She was like, let me put you on hold. And then this asshole picked up the phone. He's actually super nice, actually. And then I think we talked for like 30 minutes.
I remember the conversation because we talked for a long time, and I felt like I wanted to hear you out, but I wanted to get off the phone with you as well. So I was pacing around the hangar. I'm like, I got to get off this phone. Yeah, you ended up telling me that, and you ended up saying that you would be, I think at one point in time you said you would pay me. You said you'd work for free, you would pay me, you would do anything as long as you could be around there. So just to get you off the phone, I said, you know, because you were flight instructing at the time out of Salt Lake, I do believe. You know, and when you're a flight instructor, sometimes depending on your whoever you're teaching, you got to do these long cross countries. So I just figured, well, to get you off the phone, I'm like, the next time you do a long cross country, why don't you bring you and your student up to Coeur d'Alene and talk to me face to face. We'll see if we can figure something out. This was like March, right? Middle of March, I think.
Yeah.
Well, she ends up, and I kind of just left it at that and got her off the phone and thought, I'll never hear from her again.
As soon as I got off the phone with you, I don't think I've told you guys this, but I hung up the phone, and I think I screamed and ran around my house. I'm not even kidding you. I ran up and down the stairs like 4 times, and I was like, Mom, because I was living at my house at the time, and I think she thought there was something really serious going on because of how crazy I was being. It was top 10 life days of my life.
You've never told me that. But I didn't figure you'd ever show up. Honestly, I didn't figure you'd ever show up. And to my disbelief, you showed up 3 days later on my doorstep, basically. So you showed up at the airport, said, what up now, sucker? I'm here. And we talked. You actually hung out for 5 or 6 hours. I'm pretty hard on applicants when they come in at CFIs or anything else. So I kind of ran you through the CFI ringer that I do there. You took to that pretty well. And, it definitely on what we do on our scenic tours, you have to have a certain personality. You seem to have had a good personality, at least to be able to work at the dock. So I thought, well, let's see where it goes. Why don't you come up May 1 and we'll see where it goes. And I thought you could just kind of run the front office and or help out as a deckhand and be around seaplanes. Occasionally you jump in a seaplane and get a little bit of time and go from there. And in typical Cambrie fashion, she showed up a few days early, I think close to 10 days early there, ready to go. So you moved up there. You were in an RV at the time there, staying at an RV park. You were ready to do anything. It didn't matter. So we got the season up and going. And then you really you were just kind of helping out and doing everything. And you were willing to do anything, which kind of surprised me too, but you were there. And I think that first week, I had never flown with you yet. I'd seen your resume. I still got your resume. It's funny. It's still sitting on my desk there. Good resume paper. That goes a long way. It doesn't at all. But you did have it on good resume paper. And I think I threw you in the Beaver, and I'm like, let's see what you're capable of doing. And typically when you throw a new pilot into a new airplane, especially a younger low time CFI pilot that thinks they can fly everything, I thought somebody was going to get humbled in that flight, and that's typically what's always happened to me when I get in a new airplane is that humbling. And I will say one of us got humbled in that airplane that day, and I don't necessarily think it was you. So I tell this on the tours when people ask about her. But yeah, she flew that Beaver. You did all your training, I think at a PA-18, right, in Alaska? Yeah. All your seaplane stuff, commercial stuff. But you flew that Beaver better than, I had a 4,000-hour Beaver pilot there. A couple of years ago, you flew that Beaver better than him out of the gate on that first flight. You really took to the Beaver, and then we transitioned you probably that same week, I think, into the Beech 18. Mm-hmm. And I've had one or two other people. I had a young lady there that was trying to get her stuff squared away. She flew the Beech 18 very well. You flew it amazing. Then we went on to, I think it took you probably 3 weeks, and we got you your multi-engine C rating, commercial multi-engine C. So you're the youngest commercial multi-engine seaplane pilot in the world, male or female. You're one of a handful of females out there that has it, probably under 20 still. I think we've done 6 or 7 females this year. I mean, now you're 20, so you may be beat out, get the next 19-year-old girl out there to do it. But yeah, that's kind of how we met and went from there. And you quickly moved from office personnel to deckhand to pilot that fast.
Imagine that. Thanks, Shane.
No, that was great. So that was kind of that. That's your story there. You got anything you want to add to your story there that I got wrong or embellished on?
Well, I'm not that good of a pilot, but I could fly a plane without crashing it. So
yeah,
that's all you really need to do at the end of the day.
That is what we have to do. We're going to get a lot of, you understand the story, but I guess none of anybody, if anybody listens to this, for our one or two family members that are going to listen to this podcast, most of them don't understand the dock talk. So this has kind of been, talking about this podcast has been something that I've talked about for a long time. I've wanted to do it, and I think I needed a co-host like you that was willing to do it. But Dock Talks came from, of course, we sit around a dock day in and day out for 6 months out of the year. It's pretty fast-paced, would you say?
The dock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be.
You get a good day, and it's, nonstop flying, answering phones, helping people, shaking hands.
And then you'll have the next day or a couple hours that it's just completely dead, and you're suntanning, you're swimming, you're doing that. And when you get around a group of people, friends and people that you enjoy being around, my family, my 3 boys work down at the dock as well as a retired American Airlines pilot, a good friend of ours. So you kind of become this tight-knit family. But you never know what the conversation's going to be at the dock. And people would come down to the dock just because of the conversations. They'd come around and they'd walk in on a conversation about who knows what. I mean, it could be aliens, it could be airplanes, it could be food, it could be, nothing's off limits at the dock. So we had somebody that it was actually a young lady that used to work for me, And she says, yeah. She says the conversations come up was dock talk. So it kind of always stuck of hey, if we're going to do this, we'll do it at the dock. Well, the feasibility.
Turns out there's not a lot of room at the dock. With the dock already has a lot of stuff on the dock.
Yeah, we'd have to add a second story, which I'm not saying is completely ruled out yet.
You know, they do that in a lot of places. They just keep building up.
Yeah, that's what we should be, like a totem pole on the water. But so that's where the dock talks came from. Hopefully someday we are back down at the dock, but it kind of just represents, nothing's off limits here. We're going to talk a lot of aviation. I mean, both her and I are very passionate about aviation. We like, basically all walks of aviation and all airplanes. There's from going fast to slow to backcountry to float planes to you're going to go fly here
Catalina.
PBY Catalina. I'm envious of that. This young lady has probably 350 hours in multi-engine seaplane time now, and I've got thousands of hours of multi-engine seaplane time. Apparently, I'm not 20 years old and worth being on.
If you grew some hair.
If I wasn't bald, I would get the call for a Catalina. Just promote it. If I could put a long hair on. You're going to go do that. I'm super envious. That's coming up here in 10 days, 2 weeks,
something like that.
Yeah. Well, pretty neat there. But that's kind of where the dock talk came from and what we're doing. We'll talk a lot about airplanes and we're going to bring in some phenomenal guests. I know a lot of people in the aviation industry, from medical guys on medicals and questions like that. We'll bring in just friends and people we know in the industry, as well as anybody that wants to come on and talk about aviation, what they've got going on. Yeah. Cambrie's an Instagram sensation.
Oh my gosh, everyone thinks I'm famous. I'm just a girl on Instagram.
That's had like 20 or 30 people come from all over the country to the dock to see you fly or to have you fly them.
It's really cool, honestly, when that happens. But it's kind of like, I'm just a girl that posts pictures on Instagram, and I guess, I don't know, they're here to see me. But yeah, it's cool and fun and whatever. Hopefully you guys are... I think most of our listeners are probably going to come from that on this first episode, I think.
I think that, the first episode there, and a lot of our first 3 followers, or our only 3 followers will probably be, family or stalkers of Cambrie. So thank you, stalkers, for anybody that's out there that's going to watch this and do that. We appreciate it.
OGs, original gangsters.
So what, why don't you tell them your background? You've got a pretty colorful background on just getting your pilot's license in general. When you started, you're 20 years old now.
Yeah, so I started flying when I was 16. I was in high school, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, because what 16-year-old does, but I thought it was the end of the world. And I was actually enrolled in my high school's EMT program, and I was like, 2 weeks before school started, I was like, maybe I want to do aviation. So I went on a discovery flight, loved it, enrolled in the high school's aviation program, and started flight training, fell in love with it. So I started flight training part 61. I went to I had a few different flight instructors through my private pilot, and I worked full time at Buffalo Wild Wings. I made some great memories at Buffalo Wild Wings, and it paid the bills. So I did that and got my PPL. Then I decided I wanted to go the 141 route, which I'm glad I did it, so I knew that I didn't want to do it. I did a time building course there for my first semester, didn't love it, and I ended up going back part 61, and I got linked up with a mentor who did a lot for me. I owe a lot to that man. I just did the rest of it, part 61, knocked everything out, had my commercial when I was 18, and then I was like, I don't know what got into me. I don't know what I ate that morning or what, but I decided I wanted to get my seaplane rating. So I looked up float plane ratings in Alaska, and I went and got my seaplane rating last year in June, and it was the best thing of my life. Fell in love with seaplanes. Decided I wanted to do that for a career instead of the airlines, because everybody wants to fly for the airlines, of course. Well, most people do when they get into it because of the money, the lifestyle, blah blah blah. I think that's why a lot of people get into aviation. It's sad to me when I learn that no one really sees other aspects of aviation. But anyways, I could go on a tangent about that. So I fell in love with it. Decided I wanted to do seaplanes.
You're gonna give a shout out to where you got your rating in Alaska?
Yeah, I got
They've
it.
Done a lot for you, I think.
Yeah, no, Alaska float ratings in Alaska, they're amazing.
Almost as good as Brooks Seaplanes.
Yeah, I also have to represent my company, Brooks Seaplane Service. So if you want to get your seaplane rating in the lower 48, come to Coeur d'Alene. If you want to get your seaplane rating in Alaska, go to Alaska Float Ratings. Super great, really, really well maintained aircraft and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, flight instructed in Salt Lake City for about 10 months at a few different flight schools. It really enjoyed that. It was a lot of stress. Being a flight instructor is really stressful. A lot of, I guess, liability. Would you use that word, Shane?
I think when you're first starting out in flight instruction, I would say I think you probably feel the liability. I don't think you necessarily have as much liability as young flight instructors think you have.
I think in our hearts we do. When we first start, 'cause we're like, okay, like if we teach wrong, or we teach bad, or whatever.
The FAA is going to come and take your license.
I mean, yeah, but
throw
also
you in jail.
Yeah, throw you in airplane jail. Which shout out to the FAA. I got to meet them today.
Yeah, on your
ramp check.
Your ramp check, your spontaneous ramp check.
That was really nice. But no, not that like the FAA is going to come after me, but more so that like I want to make sure I'm making safe pilots.
Yeah.
Because if I make a pilot and they're an unsafe pilot, then they're going to keep making unsafe pilots.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's right now kind of the only way. Nobody's really hiring right now. I mean, there's aviation's still a phenomenal career, as you know, depending on no matter what you want to do.
Yeah, no, it's
but
the best.
Nobody's hiring right now.
No, it's kind of at a, what do they say, a gridlock?
Standstill.
A standstill traffic jam.
You're in a holding pattern. We could use an aviation.
There you go.
You're 9,000 feet in a holding pattern.
Yeah, no end in sight. But it comes in waves. So anyways, flight instructor in Utah, loved it. And then that's where Shane's story picks up, where I started calling everybody on this earth, just in the United States, though, to find a seaplane job.
Ta-da.
And that brings us to today. Sitting at this dock, well, we're not at a dock, actually. We're at the airport.
We're at an airport in a hangar, in an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
Where we should go. But, so, I guess I should give my background here.
Yeah,
so I grew up in Alaska. I grew up in Fairbanks, Alaska. My grandfather flew. I did some ground school classes in high school there. Kind of always was around aviation, loved aviation there for a while. Grandfather got out of aviation before I turned 17, so I never got my license then. I got back in it years later. Have fixed up a couple airplanes. I've bought and sold a lot of airplanes. On the adventure to find the perfect airplane or a better airplane, I was always trading up or trying to trade up. Doing that, but I had a 9-to-5 job. I did a lot of other things, but construction was basically my background. Always flew. My kids have always flown. Have a house in Mexico, so family always went to Mexico in airplanes. Yeah, just did that. Built a lot of time. Anytime I could get in an airplane with a friend or fly something across country, I did it. I had a job that allowed me to do that. I was able to take time off and fly a lot of airplanes. So I've got quite a bit of time. Moved up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Happenstance in a weird way. Fell into a flight school. Starting a flight school, I should say. I had a family member that wanted his license that I had been helping. Moved him up here. I had a 172 that I was fixing up to flip and put him in it. Hired a CFI to train him and had as I do, I hire people that are not always on paper the best fit for the job. I hired a cowboy looking guy, great guy, still to this day. He's at the airlines now, or Fallen Cargo, I think. But hired him. He never really instructed. He'd come out of a college, a 141 program, UND there, and thought, well, rather than just having him train one person, I would run an ad. And I was at an airport that really there was only one. There was two other flight schools, one flight school that had one airplane and a decent sized flight school that had a few airplanes. They had some tailwheel stuff and everything else, and thought, well, I'll run an ad and see if anybody else wants to come in for a student or two. And I figured, well, this will take 6 or 8 months, and he would get his family member would get his time in the airplane, and then I would sell the airplane after that and get the CFI off to whatever he's going to go next. Well, I ran an ad, I think, on Craigslist, of all things, like a random Craigslist ad.
That's where you find the good ones.
Yeah, the good ones, and said, hey, I've got an airplane and a flight, and is anybody, you're looking for students, basically. And I think within a week, I needed to hire a second CFI for that airplane. It was, we were too busy for one CFI. So just kind of fell in it. I never wanted a flight school. It's it's a tough industry. I do things quite a bit different. I would say we're unconventional flight school for sure. Very busy flight school. Turn out a lot of good pilots. And now I've got a flight school that there's not a single fixed wing rating in the world that we can't do. So I can take anybody from private single engine land to ATP multi-engine C. There's nothing in between that we can't do. So that kind of sets us apart a little bit. We're pretty fast-paced. We are a 61 base company on that, and we work well with CFIs. We do things a little bit different. I look at it a little bit different. I should throw this out there, I'm not a CFI.
Can you believe that? You need to go take your written.
I need to go take my written. I'm not a very good instructor, I would say.
I would say that that's not true. I would say that you're a really good instructor, but what do I know? That's
right. You're an instructor there. So, but I know what works. I'm pretty hard on CFIs, I think, at the beginning, trying to get them to understand what their job really is rather than what they've been taught and kind of go from there. So that's that. I had the opportunity to buy a seaplane tour business locally. This is our 80th year, so I bought that. This is our 80th year in business. So July 4th was our 80th anniversary. So we've got that. We've got a bunch of airplanes. We teach a lot of seaplane ratings as well. Yeah. Working on we'll have a charter certificate here hopefully in 10 days.
Fingers
crossed on that. So we kind of got our hands in a little bit of everything. I've posted a lot of stuff over the years. MPIA. I've posted a lot of stuff over the years on maintenance stuff. In Aviation, I'm a big fan of the Aviation aircraft. If anybody's familiar with that, it's a North American built aircraft. So yeah, that's kind of my background and how I've came in it. And I just love airplanes. I mean, I think we could say both of us at this table here are plane crazy, if you want to use that bad adage there.
Good. Plane
But
crazy.
we both truly enjoy, I think, aviation. Right at just under 10,000 hours, or right at 10,000 hours. I'd have to look at my logbook. I'm not the best anymore at keeping up on that. I've got a digital logbook that keeps track of that. I own lots and lots of different aircraft, from a DC-3, Beech 18s to, a Beechcraft Duke, Navions, Cubs, Pacers.
You name it.
You name it. I've flown a lot of it. Still out there collecting more ratings and type certificates. I guess that's the way to do it. I said I've got some friends that have gotten. What are they doing? They're collecting as many type certificates as they are old. Maybe that's going to be a goal I set up and start doing here. So that's what we've got there. And that's kind of the background of both of us on that and what we're going to be doing.
It'll be good.
No, I think it's going to be great. I think once we get some input from you guys on what you guys want to hear and talk about. So, I mean, we're bringing things from both sides of the table, I think, with young and, female and that and old and fat and bald. From this side of it, I think that's we're going to be able to cover everything kind of in between there. You look at a lot of different things. We have a lot of disagreements over how we get from point A to point B, but I think we work well together. We enjoy our each other's company, and we've been told that we're fairly funny together.
Allegedly.
I don't know if any of this is shining through
we'll
on
see
that
if the
today.
Haters agree.
Yeah, well, the haters are good because the haters will watch again and they'll comment like, you guys suck.
I'm excited for the hates.
No, the haters will come out of the woodwork, I'm sure.
For sure.
What's aviation?
What is it?
You're either all in or you're a hater.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, aviation is on it's real cliquey, I think, I would say.
In real life, I've yet to meet
IRL,
I've yet to meet a rude pilot, actually.
Pilots are actually great. I mean, pilots, I will say that pilots in general are my family. I mean, some of my best friends have come from aviation.
Yeah.
I cannot talk to somebody for 6 months and show up in a town somewhere and they'll open their house and do whatever they want to do for you.
Well, damn bestie booze again.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually great.
Yeah. But then you have, the keyboard warriors online, and they claim to be pilots, and I really hope they're not actually pilots, because if they are, I'm extremely disappointed in them, and take back my thing about all pilots are nice. But we'll see. We'll see what the haters say, though.
Yeah, no, you don't read the comments.
Why?
You can't read the comments.
You have to.
No, you can't. You can't read the comments. It'll eat you.
But they're funny.
Sometimes they are, and then sometimes there's just too much. But no, it's going to be fun on that. We're going to talk about all the trials and tribulations. We'll get into dealings with the FAA. We'll get into dealings. I mean, today we had
a dealing.
A ramp check, a random ramp check.
Random ramp check at our airport with 2 planes at it. Tell me how random that is.
I will say I've had more random ramp checks than if everybody else that I honestly, not like the hearsay of like so-and-so got ramp checked and Uncle Fester got a ramp check over here from that. I've had more ramp checks in the last 4 years around the country. And it's because of the haters. I mean, we'll go right back to the haters. But around the country randomly than all of the other ramp checks I've ever heard of. So, yeah, I love how it can be random, but I digress.
But that's okay. My ramp check was actually super nice.
Yeah.
It went really well. It was just caught me off guard. Because you, hear about it, and everyone's like, ooh, ramp checks. And then it was like, ramp check.
It's not a...
Now.
And that's really, yeah, a lot of pilots get pretty worked up over that, and really there's hardly anything in aviation you really need to get worked up over, be it a pilot deviation or be it an emergency or be whatever.
Well, you can get worked up after the fact. I think it's valid, but in the moment, I think you need to focus. I mean, fly it to the crash? I think that can
fly
be
it
said
as far away. If you take one out of Bob Hoover's mouth, fly it as far into the crash as you can get.
Yeah, exactly. I think that goes with a lot of everything with aviation, but I think it's okay to get worked up after the fact.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the FA's, at the end of the day, and I think with Mosaic coming out and with new blood in the FAA, I think, the old guard is changing. I think there's a lot more willingness to work between pilots and FAA there and kind of do that. So I'm excited where that goes.
Yeah, it's good though.
So what's your next adventure?
What's my next adventure?
Yeah.
In life or tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow. You're going to fly the Beaver.
Well, probably going to wake up.
Yeah.
Go to the dock. This is what I do every day, actually. Go to the dock it up all day. Well, I like to say I'm on.
I don't know. You're on time for your flights. I don't know if you're on time for work ever.
I'm always on time for my flights.
You were early coming to Coeur d'Alene, but that was the only time you were ever early, I think, coming to Coeur d'Alene.
I'll definitely be to the dock by 9 tomorrow, and then we're at the dock until 6. And then?
Dock talks.
Then
some editing to get this out. So this is going to drop Friday this will be dropped, or it'll already have happened when you're hearing this. It'll already have happened, but for us, we've still got...
It's our tomorrow.
Yeah, it is our tomorrow, so we'll start on that. Yeah, so we fly at the dock. We fly
1952 to Haviland Beaver on straight floats, meaning there are no wheels or tires that come out of the airplane. And then we fly a 1954 Beech 18 on straight floats. And then one of our pilots has a Citabria.
75.
1975.
I always say 73 and he gets all upset.
So make sure you don't say 73.
Down here, you probably can't see it in the video camera here, is a T-28. Down there, what else do we got in the hangar? Are we allowed? We'll talk about the hangar. We've got a King Air, the King Air we fly here. Our King Air 200, we got a T-28 in here. There's a 210, 2, and an Aviation. So,
and a lot of random toys.
A lot of random toys. We got Stearman here. We got a lot of projects, too. So we'll kind of go over some of that. We're hoping to be able to bring this podcast around a little bit and do that as we make it entertaining. We're probably not really going to touch on accident reports. I think that's pretty played out.
I think it's overdone. I think it's important. I think that it's good people are doing it. But I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to be armchair pilot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I don't think, when you look at a lot of the accident reports, it's the cause at the end of the day is typically
pilot error.
Pilot error, undisclosed information. Who knows? But yeah. So we'll do some of that. What are we going to talk about aliens ever? Hopefully we talk about aliens.
I think that we need to throw some aliens in there.
Religion. We'll talk about religion. Politics. We should definitely hit politics. That
might be a slippery slope. I don't know about
religion or politics.
Maybe a little bit of
both.
Aliens. And aliens, not so much controversial topic. I think that could be done.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun for sure.
There will be some fun. Well, we've got to, That's really kind of the gist of where we're going to go with this and what we're going to do, I think.
In theory.
Well, it's gonna be ever changing on that. We'll talk about. I want to know about your PBY experience.
Yeah, no, we can talk about that next week. Wait, I don't even know what day it is anymore.
So that's going to be that. So for anybody young out there, putting out content on social media apparently gets you a PBY ride.
Apparently.
So put the content out there. Get it wherever you can get it. Get the followers.
Apparently the people like it.
Get monetized. And then you have to do a collab. I will say I saw your last collab. It was great.
It was great. Okay, that's all we're going to say.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it immensely.
It was a good collab. I'm really happy about how it turned out. It was great. A lot of awesome people were involved.
Yeah, there was pilots from all over the world.
All over the world. Yeah. I loved it. I would do it again.
No, I would want you to do that again for sure. So, how about any more? We go to Alaska once a year. You go to Alaska once a year.
Yeah.
For some flying. I don't do as much flying as I should anymore. I want to go to my next big flight is going to be probably about, I think my next adventure, Mexico. I think I need to do a Mexico flight. I need to do a guy's Mexico trip to get that squared away. I will say flying in Mexico, I know a lot of people are apprehensive about it. I was actually talking to our student that's down there at the dock, I forget his name. But he's been all over Mexico racing, but he's afraid to fly down there. Like, how does somebody that spends that much time down there? Yeah, he won't take his airplane down there. Yeah, Baja, Mexico, I've flown all over. It's amazing. Amazing country to fly in. Super fun. Great people. I would say very safe. All of the things. I mean, we land basically and taxi up to our house like you're pulling your car up to your parking garage at your house. But, yeah, it's pretty neat. I love Mexico. So I think Mexico trip is going to be as soon as we slow down at the dock. That'll be my next big adventure. Next big adventure. Yeah. So your ramp check went good today?
Give or take.
Give or take. No,
it went great. It really did. It went as good as a ramp check could go. And we give the FAA a hard time, but
I do.
I think everybody.
Okay.
But the guy that did mine today,
he's just human.
He was just a nice guy.
No, he was a good guy.
He was just like it was like a person. We get to say. I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, but he was just a good guy.
No, most of those guys
not there to get you.
Most of those guys are good, making it happen, and just checking on.
The FAA is saving lives one ramp check at a time.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, any takeaway? It's. I will say, to circle back to when we first met, when you showed up at the airport there, I ask one question to all CFI applicants that come into my establishment for a job.
Is it the?
It's the question.
The number one.
Can I say it? Yeah, say it. Someone tell me what you thought about that, because everybody thinks I'm an asshole when I do that.
So, a little bit, if they don't know you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. You go, so, what are the required documents to fly an airplane? Okay. Well, okay, aero, right?
It's what we're taught.
It's what we're taught. And what's the W in aero, everybody? Say it with me now. Weight and balance. Okay. Then he goes, here, I have a FAR aim for you. Why don't you show me which reg it says that? Okay. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know what reg it is. But surely it has to be in here, right? Because...
Well, you've been taught it.
That's what everybody says.
You've got 800 hours and you've been teaching it.
I've been teaching it. It has to be in the FAR aim. That's what they want you to think, guys. It's not in the FAR aim.
It's not in the FAR aim.
Believe it or not. Even after you look through every page in the FAR aim and ask ChatGPT and ask Siri and ask the Google.
Don't forget you asked your...
After you phone a friend.
Yeah,
or
you
two,
did.
Or
you did
three.
phone a friend on that.
And they all say the same thing. It's in there, but no one can tell me where it's at.
Everybody says the same thing. Everybody says the exact same thing. It's funny. That came about. I had the second CFI I ever hired. I'll tell that quick story. The second CFI I ever hired at the flight school. His dad was an airline pilot. This young man was heading to the airlines, pretty straight-laced, opposite of me. But like I said, not every CFI is good for every student, so you got to have different types of personalities there. In a flight school, so he worked because he was a different personality than the first instructor I had. But he came in, and we didn't have a weight and balance sheet in the airplane at the time. And he kind of made a stink about it, so I made a stink back. I said, and I got asked this question years ago and when I did my private pilot. And my oral for my private pilot, like where was this weight and balance requirement? So, we went kind of back and forth with him, and he said, no, you have to have it. And he ended up talking to our local DPEs and other local CFIs. And then he ended up talking to the FAA, the local FSDO. So I got a bunch of calls and people showing up talking about that. So I said, yeah, just all you got to do, guys, do is show me. So now it's just kind of my one question, because it really shows a CFI how willing they're going to be at learning new things or techniques and or doing that. So that's my go-to. Hey, show me where it's at.
But you do keep them in the pull.
We keep them in our binder now, but it's not in there, so I don't, and I wouldn't tell any student to go into a oral and argue that with a DP. That's not going to work out well. But yeah, so we've got a lot of different types of CFIs. I mean, you see that. I'm a big proponent of. When I walked into a lot of flight schools, I'll say this real quick. When I walked into a lot of flight schools before I had one, typically you'd have like one like mentor CFI, and for lack of better explanation, or for the 20-something-year-olds, you'd have like minions of that same CFI, that lead CFI. So you'd have kind of cookie cutter all the way down. Yeah. And I love to say this. I say it to everybody. Like, not every CFI is a good CFI for you. So if you're a student listening to this for the first time, which nobody's going to listen to this first podcast, I hope, because it's probably going to be horrible. But if you're out there and you're struggling with your CFI and you think aviation isn't for you, don't believe that. It's your CFI.
I promise.
Yeah.
As a student and a CFI. Well, we're always students. We never stop being a student. But if you're like a student pilot with a certificate that says you're a student pilot, yeah. It might take a couple of CFIs till you find yours.
Yeah, always find, a lot of times in a lot of flight schools, you're a number and a dollar sign to a CFI. The last thing they want to do is see you go anywhere else.
Yeah, if you have a CFI that's all worked up about you flying with another CFI, that's probably a red flag.
Run for the hills.
The red flag is waving really bright and loud.
Yeah.
In the wind.
So, but I say this, I've got friends that are CFIs that if they were my CFI when I started flying, I wouldn't be a pilot today. Yeah. And I still fly with them. They're great pilots. They do everything. They just, how I learn and how they teach doesn't work. And so you can't, it's no different than when you were in school. You've got some teachers that are like the Charlie Brown teacher, which was a cartoon back in the day. You're probably too young to know.
I can't make the sound. Logan, is your mic on?
There we go. We got our soundboard guy there. Knows how the Charlie Brown thing. But yeah, it's and then you had other teachers that really resonated with you that made you think stuff. So yeah, run if you're a number there. Come to go anywhere to a flight school. Find somebody that you really enjoy being with and that you're going to learn from, and you're going to learn much faster. It's going to save you a bunch of money. Don't spend any more money than you need to. The airlines don't care what you got your private pilot's license. It doesn't have to be a Diamond DA, 42?
That is a multi-engine, I believe.
Whatever the single.
Whatever. A Cirrus?
A Cirrus. It doesn't have to be a Cirrus. Nobody cares.
That's my favorite one.
Nobody cares. Yeah, an $850 an hour Cirrus job.
If you can afford it, do it.
If you're buying a Cirrus, do it. If you can afford it, still don't do it. People that can afford to spend $850 an hour should not spend $850 an hour. They should spend $250 an hour and go buy a cool airplane when they get their private pilot's license.
Yeah, but it's a free country.
Sure. I'm saying do whatever you want to do. Just don't throw your money away.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that it's a lot. If you want to get it done quick, if that's your mission is to get it done quick, and don't do it in a Cirrus, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's more complex.
Yeah.
Right? So at the end of the day, it's going to take you longer. I had a guy call me today, wants to train his daughter, wants to buy an airplane, a Aviation of all things, and have his daughter do all her training in an Aviation. And it's a geared Lycoming Aviation. So, that in itself is kind of a bit of a problem. It's just going to take forever to get the basics down. So I tell everybody when they want to do that and they want to buy their own airplane, let's do 25 hours in a basic bitch airplane.
Cessna 150, baby.
I don't know about a Cessna 150.
I will
if you look
die
like
on
me.
That hill.
Well, yeah, if you look like you can do a Cessna 150. Two of you, you can just about put fuel in it and go. Two of me, there's no fuel in the airplane. I can't even get to the
gallons.
Yeah, can't get to the numbers. But so do your first 25 hours, get the basics figured out, and then do a transition from there and finish out your private pilot if you buy your own airplane in something more complex. It'll still cost you less money for training in the long run. So,
okay.
With that, I want to say we've been going for, how long have we been going?
45.
45 minutes. I think that's a
give
good,
or take a little bit.
A good go on this.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, really, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy this. I think our next one's going to be
next Friday.
Next Friday. Are they dropping every Friday?
Every Friday.
Okay.
Are you okay with that? You like that?
I'm glad that you let me know.
I hope that you like it, because that's what we're going to do.
Every Friday at midnight?
Sure.
On where?
All of them.
You've done that, right? We're set up on...
We're locked and loaded.
We're Spotified.
Oh, yeah. Apple.
YouTubed. Appled. Okay.
So listen to all of them.
I hate when people do the like and subscribe thing, and I don't even know if you can like and subscribe on the deal.
You can on YouTube.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like and subscribe, I guess. That'll help. We will have, real quick in signing out here, we are working with a designer that we are going to put together the most epic aviation shirts, appropriate and inappropriate, and just fun aviation shirts.
It's going to be groundbreaking, revolutionary. The world might implode about how amazing it is.
All right.
Dare I say.
Dare I say within the next month we'll have shirts for sale?
You dare say.
Okay.
I dare say yes.
All right. I'm leaving that in your court.
Okay.
All right.
I guess that's that.
Thank you guys for showing up. We will wrap this up, and we will see you next Friday. Later.
Bye.